Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's CLCI Live.
Yes. Can we move this? Oh, wait, we can't. I just want it bigger so I can read the expressions on people's
All right,
faces.
then someone else is going to read chat then for us.
Yeah, that's fine.
Last week, we discussed why people do and don't change and how you make it worse if you try to make people change. I guess this kind of follows suit. Once you reach a certain breaking point, you just break up. You leave them. You have heartbreak. And this week we're talking about moving on. How
Before
li-
we
how a life coach can help for healing after a heartbreak.
before we get into that topic, remember to like, subscribe, follow. Make sure you push those buttons right now. Do it now. Do it now. If you're listening to us, like or subscribe. Do it now, so you don't forget later. And then you will be up on all of the life coaching topics.
And join the conversation.
And also join in the conversation. We will be listening to you and your comments. No. Oh yeah, that's what I wanted to say. It's easy to think, oh, I'm never going to break up with my significant other, but when we say relationships, I have definitely had broken up with friends. I have broken up with
Good point.
bosses. I have broken up with all kinds of people. Coworkers. It doesn't just mean that the person you're in a relationship with. We're in relationships with everybody. They're just different kinds.
Also, this says healing after heartbreak. So, it could be grief, or it could be like a celebrity you love dying, or something else like that.
There's lots of different ways to experience heartbreak. That's for sure.
Someone grabbing your heart and then breaking in half.
Then you would need
a surgeon,
not
a life coach.
Refer out.
Yeah, just refer out for that. So I'll let you take the lead. Go on, ask your questions.
I was not able to do very much research apart from what I did yesterday, but I normally do in second dive. So because of that, I'm here as our neutral, questionful party. So what? When we're talking about what kind of heartbreak are we talking about? Are we talking about moving on after it? Are we talking about? Do we want to talk about what happens
when your heart is broken?
How we feel? What that process is like?
I don't know what happens because it's never happened to me.
Oh, Jen! Wow.
Okay,
yeah. This is a foreign topic for me.
Have you broken people's hearts before?
I suspect that I have.
That look on your face says everything.
I don't know how severe. I was very young, but I would suspect, yeah.
You've never lost a pet you cared about, Jen? Or...
Oh God. Yeah, I've had my heart broken by animals. That is correct.
Okay.
That's what it's like, but like when somebody breaks up with you now.
It's a lot less complicated when it comes to animals, I would say.
Is true.
Okay.
Because you're not like asking, why did this happen? Why did my pet leave? Actually, when a pet goes missing, though, that is kind of suck. That is more like, why did it happen? That's harder to move on. When a pet dies, that's easy.
My cat was mad at me yesterday. And how do I know? Because she screams. She got locked in our closet.
Oh my gosh.
They do that. They like to tell us when they're...
Yeah. And she was letting me have it. I didn't lock her in there, mind you. It wasn't me. But she was not happy.
Yeah, they'll let you know for sure. Mm-hmm. Or they won't. I had my cat get locked in this little... It's like we have like a little wall thing where we plug it in, and it's like inside the walls. And he got stuck in there all night. Didn't make a peep. And the next morning, I heard this... and then all of the cats were outside of it, and I was like,
oh my gosh,
he in there? And I opened it up, and there's Nick. Like, yeah, I've been stuck in here all night. I felt so bad.
We have deviated a little bit, but
yeah, we totally left field there.
So there's more than one way to have your heart broken. That's what we're saying.
Yes.
Jerome, have you ever broken someone's heart?
I think I might have. A friend a friend that was just no longer serving a purpose in my life.
I have,
A friend no longer serving a purpose.
I don't know. And so like I had a friend who I broke up with. I mean, I've had lots of heartbreaks. Especially, before being medicated with Adderall, your emotions are all over the place. So, but I definitely had a friend who we were super close. We had one of those fast form friendships. And then, I had to she kind of messed up bad enough for me to be like, this isn't good. I'm going to take a break. And then I let her back in and then she ghosted me. And I was like, well, never mind. I don't have to give you any more chances, do I? That made that easy. But it is hard. It is. There's definitely this feeling. I think ghosting is kind of hard, almost harder in some ways because there's no explanation. There's
being ghosted, or
being ghosted, when somebody ghosts you, when somebody just up and disappears, they're just gone, and they don't take that time to have that conversation with you, or they just go away.
Which I don't know why they call it ghosting, because typically in
ghosts are
ghosts stick around.
Stick around, yeah.
They do. They stick around. It haunts you. Maybe that's why it's called ghosting.
Well, no, this implies that ghosts just disappear.
It's the disappearing kind, yeah.
But I'm haunted by them wondering if what happened and where
Okay,
they went,
all right,
and if they're alive or dead.
Right, because then you only have your own stories.
Yeah,
you have no other information, and it's all self-created.
That's that goes back to an earlier live we did about hauntings and hauntologies.
I have a question. When you guys have broken up with people, do you tell them why, and are you honest?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You're just lay it all out there. You're you are the problem for these reasons.
I don't think I've ever broken up with somebody not in person. I've always done it to their face. I like watching their hearts break. There's that reminds me of a Simpsons episode where Homer's if you pause right here, you can see the exact moment his heart breaks. It's Ralph. He's clutching his chest.
Oh my god!
But so in those instances, how does that go down? Are you? Is it just that it's not me, it's you, or are you honest? Or I'm just curious.
It's different every time.
Yeah,
it sucks every time.
Do you think it benefits the person to tell them what you think is wrong?
I'm not doing it for really their benefit. I'm doing it so
it's kind of a wrong or a misnomer to say you. Because I mean, right? We're in a relationship together. Whether it's a friend, whether it's an animal, whether it's a coworker, it's a together kind of thing. So to point and say you are the problem is.
I mean, there are probably some circumstances where they are the problem.
Yeah, I've definitely dated one where he was absolutely the problem.
One I'm thinking of for me. He wasn't the problem. I just changed my mind on what I wanted and the way I wanted to be. Part of the relationship had to do with a program we were both in. And I decided I don't want to do that program anymore. And so that kind of changed things because he was very much committed to that.
Was this program Coaching 101 and or 102?
No, that probably would have made it simpler.
Yes, because that won't ruin any relationships. That will strengthen relationships. Take that class.
Yeah, so that one was just no, sorry, I don't want this anymore. It's not you, it's actually me, and I wish you the best. And I think he was wait, what? Why don't you what? And took that kind of hard. For me, it was just a quick not this isn't. But I was so young, that. Yeah. To me, it was easy.
You could play with people's emotions and hearts. It doesn't matter.
Well, and I think there is a trope or a theme in some romantic comedies and things like that, where there's a guy who clearly has something he's doing very wrong, but nobody's ever told him. Nobody's ever said to his face that this is probably why you're having issues. So, that's where I wonder, is it worth having the conversation or not having the conversation? And when you have the conversation, does that allow the person to go, no, that's really a big part of who I am, and I'm not going to change that. So you're right. This isn't ever going to be compatible. If Anthony smoked cigarettes, it would never work, right? It would not
revisits.
It would not work, right? We discussed this last week. It would be over.
as a habit, or as like a one-time thing?
Just at all, really. I'm just gonna draw a hard line.
You and I have different
I
tolerances.
can maybe
for
forgive a one-time thing. Yes, of course I can. But like, I mean, I would rather just say don't do it at all, and then yeah.
You know those 10-minute breaks we take at work? Going outside for a cigarette break.
This was a hard deal breaker.
Brooke doesn't even know.
Oh my god.
Okay, we're talking a lot about like breaking people's hearts, which is fun to like reminisce about times you
Fun.
traumatized people.
I'm not sure that is a good.
I wouldn't call it fun.
We got to bring it to like when you have your heart broken. How? Let's take the life coach out of it. Let's take the therapist out of it. Let's take any healthy ways of going about it out of it. What are some crazy, unhealthy ways that people typically manage heartbreak?
Oh God.
There's some people will stalk other people. There's
Oh yeah.
They'll start having sex with anybody who crosses.
It's bad behavior.
Yeah,
that doesn't support their well-being.
Cry on the couch and eat ice cream.
Lots of self-medicating with multiple different substances.
So people, I mean, it's not common for people to spiral. Like that's a common trope in like media. You see that people crash out when
and obsess. Like they'll obsess. Think that they've definitely seen that where the person's like, this is the only person for me. There's nobody else out there that's ever going to be this person. What am I going to do? That of course causes spiral. And we all know that's not true. So
in the general categories, what Mr. Pasqualeon from the research, the psychologist who provided some of the research that we did, he says that we're either doing two things with pain most of the time when you're dealing with it in an unhealthy way. You're either running from the pain, so avoidance or distraction or serial relationships, or you're fixating on pain, which is like stewing in it and ruminating and anger and nostalgia.
I'm never gonna get out of bed.
Like not
watching videos.
Yeah.
Does he mention if we can do both? Is that a possibility?
Sure.
I'm sure you can,
I've done all of that before.
Between the two, sure.
I definitely went on the carousel of all those different things.
Yeah.
I forgot who I was listening to. It wasn't for this. It was for something else. Gabor, or one of those. Huh?
He said Gabor, and I said like Zsa Zsa Gabor. I'm like,
Gabor Mate. Is that who you're talking about?
That reference.
That's his last name. I can't think of what his first name is. I think he's
Gabor is his first name. Mate is his last name. I'm pretty sure if that's who you're talking about.
Okay, probably then.
Okay.
I think it was him. He said that the first 90 seconds of something bad occurring, that's on the moment. That's on the experience. After that 90 seconds, that's us reinforcing that bad experience. And so if we didn't reinforce that bad experience or ruminate about it, then we would get out of pain a whole lot more.
I wonder where that, like, how that statistic is proven, though. Because, like, I think that's
he was talking about trauma. That's what it was. He was talking about trauma, to not reintroduce trauma to yourself. Anyway.
Oh, okay. Like to just
don't keep revisiting the thing that is traumatizing you.
If you were like, I just got
broken
shot. I mean, I can't imagine.
Let's bring it into the heartbreak.
90 seconds. Okay, that happened.
Yeah.
90 seconds. Get over it.
Clearly, that's a medical issue, right? We're not in the medical side of things. It's the part where we keep reinforcing the experience versus what we're going through in that moment.
But I think, it's hard for me. The reason that doesn't resonate with me is, two reasons. One, it's hard for me to even know what I'm feeling in the moment, right? It often doesn't come until later.
Yeah, me too.
And so, like, for me to give myself that 90 seconds right then and there, it's probably not even possible because I'm probably not even able to process it. I'm probably in action avoidance mode, and it doesn't come to process until later. So that's one of the reasons it doesn't resonate with me too. And the other reason is, like, if you are suffering through some truly real heartbreak, right? Like I have a family member who has really bad mental health issues, and definitely in the beginning, you know, there was a lot of like what felt like heartbreak for me, like serious heartbreak, and when that happens, it is almost world shaking, right? Like it is like you have to, your whole world gets changed in some way because this very important person in your life is no longer that person. And so like you have to change your whole approach of like if I mean it's a family member, they've been in my life my whole life. So and now I have to approach my whole life differently with, you know, without this person there most of the time, and when they are there, it's sometimes normal, sometimes not, sometimes weird, you know what I mean? So it's like there had to be this whole shift, and I don't know how I could process that in 90 seconds then be like, oh no, that wasn't traumatic, it's fine. You know what I mean? So that's the only reason, like you
just got to be chill and nonchalant and just be like, whatever.
But you're talking about processing, which I don't think that's what he was inferring to. The process of that, the interpretation I got from it was more around putting yourself through the loop again, right?
Like
not the process of what you experienced, but
so it's like you've got to
processing it. It's really what it is. It's not processing it.
If something comes up and a trigger comes up, essentially you've got a 90-second window to like remove yourself from the situation, reevaluate, reset yourself before you start doing harm.
No, I get that too, because I've definitely been there where, like, when I was in trauma space, where it would hit and like I knew, oh shoot, I still have it, where that emotional roller coaster goes and it's just set off the rails, and at that point I'm like, well, this energy is not going anywhere. I gotta, I have to do something with it. I have to, talk it out or move it out or something. I just gotta process it sometime. So
you mentioned something about how with the heartbreak with the other person, it kind of reshapes your relationship with them and reframes your whole like world, kind of. What the research is also saying is that the heartbreak is not, losing another person. It's losing a version of yourself, because you lose a part of your identity, like with your family member, like who you are as a sister is changed, or with the, if you are with a significant other, if you're a husband or your wife or a parent, you lose that piece of identity.
Because you have all these dreams and expectations and like I'm imagining what my life will be like with this person 10 years from now, 5 years from now. And when that person goes away, you don't get to imagine those things anymore. And you have to sort of reimagine everything in a different way. And I can see how it can also be, if it is like a boyfriend girlfriend type relationship, right? You that's like a very central pillar of imaginings, right? And planning and future. And so when that goes away, I could see like, I don't know how to do this alone. I don't know how to do this, what I can't even imagine anymore what life will be like in 5 years or 10 years, because it is so dramatically different from what you were imagining prior to that.
That's such an interesting point too, like especially with social media and people taking their identity. Like I used to have an identity of being a corgi mom. Like that was at some point in my Instagram handle, is that
I'm a cat mom, so
yeah. And so when my first corgi died, I was like, that what you just said, like a part of me, I had to grieve losing me as I knew me. And I've never thought about that until now. And then I shifted my Instagram. I decided I'm not going to make that my identity, because that's probably going to keep happening. I'm probably just going to keep losing dogs throughout my life, and I don't really want to have to go through that every time. But
it's funny because I follow pet influencers and I will follow like cats and things like that. And if it's only one cat and that cat doesn't make it, I can, which at some point they all die. I will try my best to stay on, as long as they're not posting a whole bunch of depressing post about it. But if they are, because then all I think about is my cat's passing away, and I'm like, I don't want to look at this anymore.
You know,
Yep.
you could just instead
I
of,
should just mute them.
no, instead of a cat mom, you just call yourself like a cat funeral director.
Oh God.
Okay,
That way,
now
never
we've gone
change it.
way off the rails.
Oh my god.
Well, okay, let's reframe that statement. We're reframing our identity in a way that is maybe more accurate to the situation, and we're not staking who we are on another person.
Yeah, which when you think about it, that's probably great,
Yeah.
right? Like that's where we get into like healthier relationship type things, is where I think the healthiest relationships are when two people are like really appreciative of each other, right? And they both, help. There is
Coexistence.
symbiosis and coexistence, but also it's not like I am so reliant on you that my life would crumble and be nothing without your presence, because that's just not fair, right?
Which is true in our case, but like not for the people watching.
Wait, whose life would crumble?
Absolutely.
Oh my god.
No dishes would ever get done in the house ever
That is
again.
true, but I would
That's probably true.
I would just have a lot of paper and plastic.
Yeah,
Or
just
eat out a lot.
I mean, it's true for me. My life would crumble without my husband. I would not even know who I was, but that's because we've been together for like 20 years. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know myself without him.
Can we run with that real quick?
Okay.
Like, I don't know who I would be without my husband. Let's take that statement. We'll attach it to a hypothetical person. Maybe Lisa, it's someone you've coached in a couples coaching session in the past. I don't know. What would you actually say to someone in a coaching session that says, I don't know who I am without this person? The heartbreak has already happened. They're dealing with it somehow, and they say that to you. I don't know who I am without this person.
So what would
there's so many different ways to go, and it's going to depend on the rest of the content of the session. But I could imagine something like, who are you outside of the relationship? What do you do? What are your hobbies? What are your, experiences? Some people could try to go, well, who were you before the relationship? We don't want to go there necessarily, because that's in the history and we're digging in that space. But, who are you right now sitting here?
Yeah, I think that's like sitting in the present. And then I don't think too, I would caution coaches to be like, because that person can be very like, at least this is my experience having gone through breakups and things like that. You have that moment where like, you're like, I want to erase this person. I want to forget it. I want to do it right. But then once you come through it and come on the other side of it, hopefully you're able to like sort of come to this place of acceptance and see where the good was, see where the bad was, see where, you know what I mean? And sort of be able to look at it with a little less emotional attachment, and more of like a holistic kind of view, where you're able to accept that relationship for what it was. And now I'm moving forward and I'm okay with it. So like, I would caution a coach from like going down the path of like, and encouraging your client in general, but like just erase that person like from your life, but asking those questions like, well, who are you now? I mean, how do you feel now?
And the psychologist.
Hang on one second. I think it's also really important for a coach to be aware of what a grief process is. Not that they go in 1, 2, 3, and there's usually 5-ish areas, and they don't go in order necessarily, but to be aware of them so that when your client speaks, you have an understanding of what they're saying.
You can go back and forth between them. You can waffle. You can go from anger to acceptance, and then to anger again, and then to grief, and then to bargaining.
Depression. So the psychologist, Leon, he lists 3 like questions you could ask or methods of like helping externalize the emotions, because sometimes when you have heartbreak, like that is a very vague term that doesn't translate well from one person to another. Like when Jen earlier, you said you never had your heart broken.
Mhm.
It'd be kind of hard to like tell you what it's like, because telling you what it's like is not actually what it feels like.
Mhm.
And it's so wrapped up in itself that what the psychologist found is when you externalize the emotions and externalize the thoughts about it, it helps to deal with it and heal from it. So he, in his way, he asks, okay, what is the good, uh, from that relationship? What was the bad from that relationship? And what is the future that won't be anymore? We can shift that in a coaching framework to be, what are you grateful from, or what are you taking away from that
Mhm.
relationship now that it's ended?
Would you seed grateful? Would we seed grateful? Maybe if they introduced it first, if they were like, I want
Is
to.
gratitude. I
Yeah.
mean,
So they're probably going to utilize, your client are going to be using different word choices.
Yeah.
Should your client use those words, then I would bring that up. But I would just really stick close to what the client is saying when
Or
asking those kinds of questions.
this could also be, what are you taking away from
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or what have you learned?
Not
Yeah.
and not
potentially? What's the
and not
learning
the
from that?
other not the other person. I don't want it to be like, what are you grateful for from that person? It's looking at the relationship as
It's
a
your
concept.
internal experience is what
Yeah.
you're saying. Yeah.
The next question is, what are you relieved to leave behind now that the
Mhm.
relationship is over? Like, what are you kind of glad about?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
What
'Cause
is a little freeing?
that exists for in every relationship, no matter how good, there is
Yeah.
always a little something where you're like, well, I won't have to worry about that
Yeah.
anymore.
Mhm.
Or you know what I mean? I think that that's true no matter what, because every relationship has some form of compromise.
Yeah. Like, I think of like previous work experiences I had where I left the job and I was like, oh, now I don't have to do this anymore. It's very freeing in some regards. And then the final one is, what dreams or identities or futures are you letting go of or releasing? This goes back to maybe like the hauntology thing
It's interesting.
that we talked about, and it's kind of a more challenging question.
And it is, because it's interesting. Like I could see a lot of like defeatist mentality being able to creep into that question, if that makes sense. You know what I mean?
But it's probably untangling maybe some biases that the client had, because I can see a scenario
I
where
think it could be
someone
really
is
good.
like, well, I'm letting go of becoming like a husband now in the future, or having kids. I was planning to do that with my
This person.
partner, and now that we're gone, or she's gone, I can't do that anymore. That is not necessarily true, though.
Right?
We
Yes.
know
Exactly.
that it is possible to still achieve that without this specific person.
And so if somebody said that as a coach, I would start to ask questions. So like,
Yeah.
well, what about having kids is important to you? Like
Yeah.
what, okay, is that true? But like finding out, getting that person to really figure out, is it
a final?
Yeah, well, and is it that you really wanted to have kids? Is it really that you wanted to have kids only with this person? Or is that having children an actual value in your life for you and something you could do without a partner?
Yeah.
You know, and then that's where that kind of, you can start to ask into those questions, when they're doing that black and white thinking.
I mean, that hypothetical extends to, like, let's just take children, for example, like women who want to have kids, but they can't for some reason, for some medical reason. But they want to.
Well, want to. And now
so what is important about that is what you could ask them, and what are the alternatives to still getting what you want.
You know, and it's adoption and all of the other things.
Yeah, there's plenty of options that the client can go over, but that question, as challenging as it is a way to unravel those knots and those preconceived notions that a client might have about the situation.
Yeah, I think that that's a really powerful question in a situation like this, right?
Don't rush it, though. Meaning, don't jump to those kinds of questions that,
right.
You know, you can hear us say that we'll get somewhere. If you rush those kinds of really important questions, you're going to shut the client down.
Yeah.
Or you're going to instigate something because you're not really listening to and following them and what they're saying. And that's going to come first, is really you're going to just really stay following that client with what they're telling you. When the opportunity comes, then those golden questions can be applied.
So,
a needle pulling thread.
I don't know where to go from here.
How
How do people typically, I guess, let me ask you, Lisa, because maybe you have more experience with this.
For those of you who don't know, Lisa was a couples coach for many years. So she's worked with couples and people who were in relationships who were showing up to couples coaching, and that other person never showed up, and it just turned out that they were coaching themselves out of the relationship, even though they showed up for relationship coaching to begin with.
So, I guess my first question is: have you ever coached a couple or someone who has gone through heartbreak?
I mean, I think a lot of the times that a couple will come in to talk about things, they feel heartbreak in that moment. Many times. Not all of those couples. A lot of the couples come in to work on things before it became a heartbreak. But yeah, I think a good portion of couples will have sustained some heartbreak in their argument, and it feels so decisive, and then they realize it's not a decisive moment.
Well, I think a really good example of when this happens is when infidelity happens in a relationship, right? Yeah. And I think a lot of people's first reaction to infidelity is, you have broken my heart. You have ruined everything in this relationship. This
trust
is your fault. I can never trust you again. I can never, and they're coming in. But these couples come in the couples coaching because they have at some point decided that the infidelity has already happened, and now they want to figure out if or how they can move forward as a couple, if it's even possible. But that the person walking into the room that's been cheated on is almost always, I assume, walking into the room feeling like they have had their heart broken.
Sure.
What can I ask a question to Lisa?
I don't know. Can you?
Ooh, what? These are getting saucy.
What do you think makes the difference for someone who is going to seek out a coach over a therapist for post heartbreak?
I think it's someone who is still, for a coach, someone who is still client-wise able to move forward, able to talk about here and that moving forward. I think a really good indication and that we've got to go towards a therapist is when they just can't get out of that
reliving the trauma.
Yeah.
So when someone's ready to move forward, the coach is appropriate. When someone wants or it for whatever reason needs to stay in
they're usually talking about family systems, and the family system dynamic is usually what they're not familiar with how to work in that concept. That's when a therapist is, I would recommend a therapist for sure.
I also think that most people in a situation of infidelity should seek personal therapy. Like I myself alone am going to go get therapy. You, as my partner, need to go and get individual therapy. We need separate therapists, right?
Separate therapists for shared coach.
And then a shared coach would be a really great thing, because then they can go and talk to their therapist about whatever it is that's happening. And then they can come together at the coach and be able to be productive and move. Like, we're going to put the tools into place and move forward. Right. And so I think that kind of situation is really an ideal situation for a couple.
I had a really good therapist I referred to. He also, did coaching, and I really appreciated his dynamic way of working with clients and patients for him. So that's one of the things that you want to do is really research someone, meet with them as a coach so that you're comfortable. Like, would you go to them?
And I would say have more than one, right? So that way you can refer someone for the husband, refer someone for the wife, refer someone.
I had a female.
and wives, whichever.
Who knew divorce was so good for business for therapists and the life
there are a lot of
coaches
lawyers.
and lawyers.
So the winning combination is therapists for the individuals, coach for the couples.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it could absolutely be.
Having enough money to pay for 3 different professionals
Yeah,
is the real win.
it's a winning combination.
Yeah.
Not always. Well, nowadays you can get some decently priced therapy. You can.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you can get, if you're willing to do virtual, you can get some.
Yeah. True.
Like
BetterHelp,
$50
stuff
a session.
Or-
type thing.
I had somebody get mad at me that I wouldn't coach them because they were in such a dynamic that it was zero reason to be coached in that moment, which sounds pretty desperate, and it was. I mean, there was a lot going on in that relationship, and they were so mad at me that I would not coach them. I'm like, what part of this are you? I didn't say this, but I'm thinking, what part of this do you not understand? I'm not a therapist. All this needs the therapy direction, and
You should have been like, this is why they left you, because you're so pushy.
yeah.
All right, I'm going to stop joking around for a sec. What do you do in a situation? This is like a coaching the ghost kind of issue. But what do you do in a situation where the person's like, well, I need closure. Like to move on, to heal, I need an apology or explanation or acknowledgement from this other person who's not in this coaching session. That's what I need to move forward.
Yeah.
We could do the imagine if you got it. Imagine if you never got it. If you were that person, imagine what would you say? What would you say to you? You know, you could do as you've gathered the information, you could ask, you know, you could work that. Imagine.
Yeah. I would think another potential question there is, you know, your willingness. Because if you can't control the other person, you may not be able to control whether you actually can get what you want. Are you willing to try, knowing that that's possible? Some people may be like, well, of course. And other people may be like, no, I'm only willing to put myself out there again if I know I'm going to get what I want in return.
Has it already been established that this is very important to them for that closure? Because I would say if not, you probably want to ask them what the importance of it is, just in case they haven't really thought into that much.
Also, so in that, like, I know we were talking about the imagine ifs, but I know I peed really fast. So the is asking them like questions like within your control, right? What can you do within your control? What will closure get you? How do you define closure? What does closure look like? And as soon as they start to explain, well, it looks like this person giving me an apology. Well, what do you have control of in all of that, right? That's where we start to bring them into the like more realistic, I guess, and then them also really whittling down what the emotional relevance of closure is, and what if that, you know, how they,
because that's still it's still pointing to the other person, like Anthony was saying, that ghost, right? It's still giving them more power and empowerment than sitting with what you're feeling and what would support you best.
Yeah, the psychologist Pasquale Leon, his insight was closure isn't a shared project. The other person does not have to in any way participate in your closure. Just not something that is owed to you. Despite, I mean, I'm sure there are some people who would say otherwise, be like, no, they owe it to me.
Yeah, but
that's their job.
If you think about it, like with death, right? Like there are a lot of people like who go through this where somebody dies and they find out all of this wild and crazy stuff, right? Afterwards. And they're never going to get explanations. They're never going to get closure from that. That person's not there. They're not going to, you know what I mean? And so, you know, anybody who thinks they have to have it from somebody else in order to get that closure, it's not the case, right? Because a lot of people are capable of getting closure from very final moments, you know, when it comes to death and things like that, for sure.
I wonder if a lot of times too, when people use the word closure, if what they mean is certainty. What do you think, Lisa?
Certainty about, what do you mean? Certainty about why the relationship ended?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that that person's still holding out hope? Is that what you're saying, Jen?
Yeah, I'm thinking about people I know who kind of go back and forth with, I have closure, I don't have closure, I have closure, I don't have closure, with relationships that kind of reopen, you know? To
I
me,
think of it
it
as
looks
like
like certainty. It looks like they're looking for certainty
They're
that
looking to
comes
not
from an
feel
outside
like,
source.
no, they're looking to, my guess, I don't know. My guess is they're looking to feel not so much in pain. They're looking to have the reason that will give them a place of release. They're looking for those reasons that they don't have to be attached to what that outcome is. But that's not really what they're doing.
But there's no like magic thing that somebody's ever going to say to you that's going to make it all better. Like that's just not. It's because you have to go through a process, right?
I hate to introduce a metaphor into this because I like deconstructing metaphors rather than introducing metaphors. But it's when people talk about closure, I think they talk about it in the same way as like, oh, I want to like end this chapter of my life, close the book on this like part of my life. When people want closure, I imagine they want it to be like a book where you know the who, the what, the where, the when, the how, the why,
it's neatly tied up,
and then you can simply close it up, put it on your shelf. It's closed. It's done. You don't need to revisit it again because you know every single part in and out of it. But that's not the reality of a situation when you have with people, though.
Yeah.
You don't always get closure, and you will never know. I don't even think this can be possible in relationships where they actually tell you the reason why and they try to give you that closure, because you still aren't in their heads.
Mm-hmm.
And you are just trusting them that they will actually give you the answers you want, which they might not even know themselves the reason why.
Yeah.
So it's kind of
right. It's assuming
it's a fruitless endeavor to try to get closure.
It's assuming that both parties are very in touch with their
emotions,
and
they both agree, like, that's the story.
And very capable of communicating their emotions.
Agreed upon breakup story. Yeah.
Room for interpretation. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
we don't get the opportunity in relationships to read the last page of the book. Right.
It's probably easier for like couples who just straight up hate each other to be like, yeah, this is the reason why we're getting a divorce, because we both suck and we both agree that we suck.
But
honestly, the couples that were the most honest, I mean, they weren't mean, like you were kind of
I'm playing it up,
but the ones that were most honest and really did the work, they're the ones that rebuilt their trust
afterwards.
Because there's
there was nothing hidden at that point, meaning there, everything was on the cards were shown, everything was on the table. We get to decide what we want to do with that mix.
But I mean, to be fair though, because like I think the worst like real relationship that I had, I have two very bad experiences.
This one right here.
One I don't really count because one was really fast and it was wild and ended terribly. The other one though was a long time of this like off and on, back and forth, but at the end of the day, he was a full-on narcissist, right? And he lied about, and I found out years later finding out for a while the extent of the lies that were happening, and it's weird because when you're in that realm, what the narcissist does is they're constantly trying to pull you back in, right? They're constantly trying to suck more out of you, get more out of you. And me as somebody who is giving and who wanted to know, she tried everything and wanted to, you know what I mean? I just, I kept going back to make sure until I reached the point where I was like, no, this is like, I am like, and I was so firmly done when I was done. And because I knew like I could rest my head on a pillow that no matter what that man said to me, no matter what kind of manipulation he tried to use, it was BS, right? Because I was completely at rest, at peace with it being completely over. And I don't want to speak to him or ever open the door again, right? Like, gone, thank you. And there's just such tremendous peace with that, and like such tremendous knowing for me that like man, there's no ghost there whatsoever. Right?
If you had to go, so you got the closure.
Yes.
If
fully.
you had to go back in time and talk to yourself at that moment, though, when you were let's say at the beginning of that closure journey, what would you tell yourself? Like, is it
at the beginning of the closure journey?
Yes.
Or the
Relationship
first heartbreak. I think that's
relationship is done. You're starting your wild journey of reopening and closing wounds.
No,
and
but
doing
see,
closure.
I feel like we'd already done it because, like, when you're with a narcissist, it's this constant roller coaster of like giving and taking of power, where he was constantly threatening to leave and leaving, and then coming back, and like so it was this just.
I guess
back and forth.
my question is though, would you tell yourself that getting that closure was worth it?
What do you mean? Like
sticking through until you've exhausted
I don't think
every
it's a fair,
possibility.
I don't think it's a fair question because I think I had to change fundamentally as a human being. Like, I had to go through a tremendous amount of growth and understanding in myself, and so I was on this personal journey of getting stronger and finding confidence and learning that everything he said to me was complete BS and like erasing, because what he was able to play on is all of the insecurities of this me that was much more fragile, right? And very much stuck in all of the trauma from my past and my childhood and all of this stuff that was really made me very manipulatable, right?
You also trusted him. That was different.
And I also, yes, and I
trusted. So that trust had to be to a certain degree so broken that you
where it was like, no, you're effing wrong, and I am learning to trust myself more than I am able to trust the way you manipulate me, right? And so like it becomes an evolution. You when you're going through that evolution of coming out of that kind of relationship, you are evolving as a human being. I think most people are, unless there's some like traumatic quick end to it. Like you have to sort of grow and change and get to the point where you're like, no, F you, you're wrong. I'm strong enough. Get out of my life. Like, you know what I mean? And so, but I had to be a different person than I was at the beginning of that relationship.
You had to trust yourself more than you trusted him. Yeah.
Yeah. And I had to know I could rely on myself. And I had to know that I could do everything I needed independent and without needing that person.
Yeah.
So closure is a shared project. You're just sharing it with yourself.
It's with myself, yeah, and of course my community too. Yeah. Like I had to Lisa was a support system. Like I had to find a support system because we're not autonomous. Most of us do need some kind of community and support, and so it was in building community and support that I was able to more and more extract myself from that.
And say things out loud that weren't just stuck in your head, saying things out loud so you could hear yourself say them. Yeah.
Right. Because because when they're manipulating,
I'll say you're unhinged.
They isolate you for a reason. Yeah. And the gaslighting makes you feel crazy. And then, I mean, it does help when you catch them like full blown in the lies and there's no flipping. There's no way they can, it's like, and then you're like, you are such like, what I mean? But it was one thing I did learn about myself that is both scary and good is how capable of forgiveness I am. Like I am somebody who can forgive a lot, right?
Except smoking a cigarette.
But right, what I learned is, okay, now that I know that about myself, which I think is a very tremendous quality, but I also know that quality can be manipulated, right? So now I have to be very clear with myself and with whoever I'm with or whomever, what my boundaries for forgiveness are. And it's something that I have to know ahead of time because I know I'm capable of forgiving a lot in other people and still loving somebody through horrible treatment, right? Like, so because of that, I've learned, okay, I never want to go through that again. So I'm going to be more conscientious of what I will forgive, who I will forgive, and what I will tolerate. And so I think because of that, I'm less tolerant now. And I'm at peace with it because I know why and I can attach emotional relevance to those decisions.
Well, and you chose differently too.
Yeah, of course, like night and day. A whole different human, yeah, in every way.
Can I bring up the quote that I love from the research?
Yeah.
So in the research, there's this quote about you are both the author and the reader of your story. And so I'm just curious, like, what everyone thinks of that quote, like how it translates. To me, it translates as like, well, if you're the reader, you better write a story you want to read. You know, it's just like a very empowering quote of acknowledging the reality of the way you write your story is going to impact you. It's going to change essentially who you are and who you're not based on what you write. And I love that quote.
Can you say the quote again? My interface froze. I wanted to hear.
It's you are both the author and the reader of your story.
Which I think can be beautiful and also terrifying at the same time, because I think about all those people who are writing stories that are just like,
right,
that are just grossly untrue. Like they're just writing the lies that get
it's
them
like
through.
any tool. It's like any tool. It can be it depends on who's wielding it. It can be used for good or evil.
Barbara, there's a relationship guru back in the 90s, Barbara DeAngelis. One of the exercises I liked that she introduced, I think it was from her book, Making Love Work. She had you write a want ad of who you actually were attracting, you know, all the negative things basically. And then she had you then write the want ad of really what you want to put out there. Mm-hmm. I had a friend who did that. And they had a little like ceremony for the one that was all the negative. Mm-hmm. And everything on his list except for one thing he got in his new relationship. So there's activities that you could do that if you truly are ready to make those changes and you also have to do that work. You have to work on yourself. You know, we heard Brooke share a lot of details that work on who is acceptable in your sphere, who you become in that sphere, what boundaries you're going to encourage, and all of that change happens with you first before you go into another relationship. You know, how many times have we heard, I keep choosing the same person? That's because you're not changing. And so in the dynamic of that relationship, you're recreating those things because you haven't made changes nor boundaries or educated yourself in ways to make different decisions.
All right. I think that'll wrap it up for this live then. Do we have any other final thoughts?
It's our last one of the month because we're out next week.
We're off. We're off next week. Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yep. Be back in December, last month of 2025.
Is it true?
Is it true?
We are closed next week.
Wait, we're closed on Tuesday now? Or Wednesday. We're on Wednesday today.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, yeah.
And if I don't know how to tie this into breaking up or heartbreak, but take our classes.
We won't break up with you.
We won't break up with you. We'll stalk you. Just kidding. Well, I don't know.
In fact, we will so much not break up with you that when you become our alumni, you get to now have the advantage of listing yourself in our coach directory.
Yeah.
Yes.
Helps you find clients and helps just list you as another place where we get lots of traffic, and maybe you can find you just offer your services as a coach, and that directory is free to you as our alumni in perpetuity.
Yep. It's like you're our new significant other and we're showing you off to the world. Hey,
there you did it.
We're so proud of you. And we take no responsibility for the services that they offer.
For you alumni that are watching this and may have not had too much information on this, check your inboxes that you have associated with the Institute. So
check
you can
your
get more
emails, search the word Vibely in your inbox, and you might be able to join that directory. Okay, we'll see you guys in 2 weeks.